Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. Now today we're going to take a look at this amazing Mazda 767B from Slot.it. It's a new model, new moulding, new design. It's not just a reprint of the 787B that they did before. It's actually completely different. So we're going to take a detailed look at it, then we're going to test it on the track, and then we're going to see how it performs against all the other cars we've tested so far on this track and see where it falls on our leaderboard. So let's take a look. Another great model from Slot.it here. I love the livery on this car. It's got such presence about it. Really stands out on the track. It's got really nice gloss finish. Really well done. And the model itself, what I like about this one over previous versions from Slot.it is that the spoiler comes already attached to the model. Now with previous ones it's been a separate item, although you did get two spoilers with previous models. You got a sort of display, what you'd term as a display spoiler, that was much more detailed on its sort of stanchions were more detailed and then more robust stanchions. But the trouble was it didn't come attached to the car, and I don't know if I was doing something wrong, but it never appeared that obvious on how it was supposed to attach to the car, and it needed glue. It never just clipped in or anything like that. So once you've glued one of them on, you're kind of stuck really. No pun intended, but you are kind of stuck with that's the one you've got, and that's the one that's staying on the car until you break it or whatever else. But yeah, this one comes with it already attached. Much prefer that, and I believe it slides on and off. We'll check that when we get into it later on. But yeah, excellent detail on this. Love the interior. The fact that you've got a driver there that really stands out. Love that. Love the livery, as I say, and then we've got all the cutouts. Now these again are different to the 787B. You'll see on this the sides are much boxier. They don't scoop in so much as it does on the 787B. The radiator positions are different, so it is a different model. So yeah, really nice car, this one. Really like it. Love how it looks. Let's take a more detailed look at the underside. So we've got our spoiler assembly here. That's kind of the underside of it. We'll look at that more in detail when we take the car apart. Rear diffuser, shortened obviously because of the fixings and everything we need here. That's our body mount, and we've got a two-part chassis, which we've seen on all Slot.its, and we'll see on others going forward. This is an inline motor assembly, in so much as the motor is in line with the car, and we've got a yellow geared tooth on the back here. We've got two magnet positions here or here, and these four fixings are for our floating drivetrain assembly. So you can run this looser and allow a bit of float there. Moving forward towards the front, we've got three holes here, which will be for digital setup, so you'll be able to use those for your digital sensors should you want to convert to that. And we've got our front body mounts and our guide. Tyres are 9.5mm on the rear and 9mm on the front, so quite close there actually, front and rear. Let's take a look at the inside. Working from the back, the other side of our diffuser, we got our aluminium wheels through the axle, pillow ball brass bushings inside there. We've got brass pinion gear, plastic sort of nylon or resin spur gear with a brass central locator, which is quite nice because that keeps things nice and tight from moving side to side. Inline motor, here's the other side of the fixings for the drivetrain assembly, which you can obviously loosen off to add float. We've got a connector here which obviously can be disconnected to then, if you were to bring digital in it for whatever system you're wanting to use. Front axle is on slide fixings, and these here are small screws that you can wind in or out to adjust the position of that axle, or how much that axle can come up really. It'll go as down as it can go because it meets these pins here, and then that just adjusts how far up it can go. The guide is the standard sort of push-in grommets into there, and it's not sprung loaded in any way. And then this part of the chassis, sort of front splitter, projects out the front of the car, which will help for any impacts because then it won't hit the body. The body itself is very lightweight, with a very lightweight interior, so keeping the centre of gravity quite low. The spoiler assembly, as I was saying before, the other ones, they would hook into here, but they wouldn't really locate, so you'd have to glue them somewhere around there. When I come to review the older models, I'll show you what I mean on that. And on a couple of them, I've actually glued them slightly incorrectly, so that spoiler sits lower than I would like. But this is all kind of one piece on this car, or it has been sort of glue melted together. So yeah, you can't sort of change it out without breaking those melted areas there. And then we've got all our bits of interior in various pieces that are melted into place, and then a kind of grill assembly or radiator assembly that's in there. Be quite easy to light this model, I think. You could quite easily put some lights in the back of there, which would be quite nice to do, and I might visit that at some time. And then you could do a flame kit on the exhaust system, which is through here, which would be quite nice. But yeah, typical Slot.it really, although that body feels lighter weight to me than ones in the past. Maybe at a later date I'll start weighing these bodies, which would probably be a good idea. But yeah, that's basically what the car's made of. What we'll do now is run it around the track. I'll give you my thoughts, and then after that we'll time it and see where it falls on the lap board. First thoughts then. I always say that if you want a hobby grade slot car that just performs straight out of the box, Slot.it is the way to go. They just seem to work, whether that be on a wood track with no magnets or a plastic magnet track. They just work really well, and this car's no exception to that. Performed really well around the track, really good fun to drive, really smooth. It'll be reliable, they always are, and it'll probably be fast. So let's find out how fast it goes around the track and where it falls on our lap type leaderboard. .58 seconds, that puts it second on the leaderboard, only 0.08 of a second behind that weird zombie car from Scalextrics that we put on here the last time around. So yeah, there's definitely more in that. I haven't trued the tyres, for example. If I were to true the tyres, I'm sure that would knock it over and above that other one. I had one off, and that was my, well, I mean, they're always my fault, but that was me too eager to get onto the power on the top corner up there, and just too much back end out, and it just pulled it out of the slot. But yeah, really good cars. You saw there on like the first 3 or 4 laps, every lap was next one was quicker, next one was quicker. So just sort of working out where you can just get the power on. That's most of the thing really, is get how quickly you can get the power on coming out of the corner is almost the most important thing I find on this track. But yeah, really good performing car straight out of the box. Definitely, if I trued those tyres, I think this would be the fastest car around the track. But obviously we tried to not do that. We tried to do them out of the box unless it's essential to get it to go around the track. But yeah, really impressed with that. Love that car. Love the way it looks. Love the way it drives. Great car. Get yourself one. Okay, catch you on the next video. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. Subscribing is going to make such a difference to me. I'm trying to get the channel monetized. Hopefully it is by the time this video goes out, because I know that when I recorded this we were getting close, but it was the subscriptions I was struggling with really. But yeah, if you haven't subscribed, please do, and keep watching more videos. Catch you on the next one. Bye bye.